Okay, so today we did the first round of jury questions. Well, not we. I didn't do anything. I just watched it. Of the first round of jury questions asked of Jodi Arias. I don't know how many more they have tomorrow because originally they had first they said there were 100 questions, and then when I heard the judge and attorneys talking about the questions, it went up to at least 115, 116, and some of the questions had like different parts to them. So I don't know exactly how many questions were actually asked, but today, because the judge kind of the judge asked them and she answered them, and it was just like bop 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 bop, which is very refreshing, especially from the redirect, which was so slow paced. And even while Martinez, with her trying to avoid answering questions, with these jury questions, she had to answer them. Um, so I I didn't take I didn't write down every single question. I didn't write down that many questions at all. I kind of wrote what I felt about certain things that she was saying and what I felt the jury was feeling with, the amount of questions that were being asked. I'll tell you in a little bit a couple of Twitter accounts to go look at. They wrote down, they tweeted a lot of the questions and the answers. I tried Googling right now if anybody has put out a list of questions that were asked so far, and I hadn't seen any. But if I find something, I'll definitely add it to the description, and then I can talk about it tomorrow, so you guys can kind of follow along, because there was no way I was going to write down all those questions today. So I said the jurors have over 100 questions to ask her. They go over questions. Well, this is before the jury was called into the courtroom. They go over questions number by number, and the state and defense go over objections to certain numbers. The prosecution had a minimal amount of objections, and the defense has a lot more, so that could look good for the prosecution. He's letting them get the answers they want so they can form their verdict. It could look like the defense is trying to hide something. She was shown the questions beforehand. She was able to go over them with her attorneys. And then the HLN was saying that there will probably be about 105 questions to ask. So far, the questions being asked basically show that the jury doesn't really believe what she has been saying. I don't want to talk about it question by question. I think that'll be way too long. So, Waldabout Trial is doing a good job of posting questions and answers. I will put their link, like the Twitter names, in the description so you guys can follow if you're not already following Waldabout Trial. And Vinny Politan also posted a lot of questions. He's also using the hashtag jury questions. And also Ryan Smith was kind of putting his 2 cents in about certain answers and questions and stuff. So he's a good one to follow. They have been asking her to elaborate on a lot of things. She continues to lie about certain things that have to do with the negative things about Travis. I doubt they believe her. Most of the jury questions still show they really don't believe a lot of her lies. They want clarification on a lot of things we have said she has lied about, we as in Twitter. Seems like they have a lot of questions we have been asking on Twitter for the past 2 weeks. I also think that they think she is the obsessive type just by the questions they have asked. They have her go through the attack on the day of the murder using the floor plan. They wanted her to use the floor plan. She didn't really use it that much, which I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for her. I don't know if they noticed. I hope they did notice that she didn't really use the floor plan. But I think this might hurt her just because certain things she says happened are impossible to happen. The camera dropping from a crouched or kneeling position, it would not bounce away. Her standing in the shower, not in the shower, in the bathroom, pointing the gun at him and him running at her and shooting him. There is no room for this to happen. But by the time she got to her standing in the room, she was no longer pointing on the floor plan. She didn't really use that grimace. I think not only are the juror questions good, but telling a lot of their mindset. They're not really believing her lies, and they have been paying very close attention. They ask her where her clothes went that she was wearing on the day of the murder, she doesn't remember. They also asked that if he did attack her on other occasions and he apologized, what made the June incident different. Um, and then I was like so excited that they asked about Cancun, if she was upset that he was taking somebody else to Cancun. And I think the way she answered, and her answer was very, very telling as to what made her snap, which is what a lot of people think made her snap. And you could just tell by her tone and the way she answered the question. She was even so mad today that he was going to bring someone else. So I said, yes, they asked about Cancun. The reason most of the Twitterverse thinks she snapped, she sounded annoyed and very quick answering, but you can tell she was very sensitive about the subject. She's starting to get annoyed with the questions as they want more and more clarification of her stories. I think she can tell they don't believe or they don't like or believe her testimony. They want to know why she didn't call 911, and she says she was scared of what would happen to her. Selfish. Very, very selfish. I don't think that gives any points with the jury. I don't know why they came up with that answer. If her attorneys are telling her what to say, why would she say she was scared of what would happen to her? That just shows that she's selfish and she doesn't care about him, about what happened, about what she did. It's crazy to me. She said that she lied to the police to protect Travis, but she didn't call 911 because of what people would think of her. So, yeah, okay, nobody believes you. Why is it that you have no memory of stabbing Travis? Very important question, and she has no explanation. They asked her where the gun was in a case or a holster. She says she doesn't remember, even though yesterday she said it was in a holster. The questions continue to show that the jury doesn't believe her stories and they want clarification, but I doubt these answers are changing their minds. They are asking a lot of questions a lot of us on Twitter had during the testimony. And I said, I see one person who doesn't like the questions being asked, calling them stupid. But that was the only one I saw. She asked about the injuries she sustained on the day of the murder. She had scratches on her feet and ankles, which tell me those are defensive wounds from Travis, meaning he never was able to get up off the floor. She says also her shoulder has never been the same, but doesn't know if that's from being slammed on the ground. They really want to know why she didn't just run down the stairs and out the door. They also think she had the chance to get away instead of killing him. They didn't say that, but those parts of me saying that are just kind of my what I'm taking from what I'm taking from these questions, what they're actually thinking in their minds. They want to know how she was so calm on the television interviews, very telling of their state of mind. They ask if she ever voiced to Travis that she was uncomfortable with any of his fantasies, and she says yes, and she says she explains which it's just two of them. Blah, 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 blah. Two of them, and she told him. Then there's recess. So from what I'm reading on Twitter, people are loving the questions being asked by the jury. I asked for reactions and have gotten a few replies. I'll add them in at the end of the video. So yeah, I got about six replies. So I'll put them in at the end of the video. I lost my place again. Oh, they want to know a lot of what she was thinking about during the stabbing. If she was angry when she was stabbing him, how can she remember so many things and not remember stabbing him? And she doesn't really have a good explanation for it. She keeps thinking that this magical fog that has happened in her head is going to get her away from actually explaining the truth, and that just that's not sitting well with the jury. Crap. She says up until June 4th she wanted kids with him, but prior she has said after the fight they had and he kicked her and broke her finger, which is when she caught him masturbating, is when. So I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I caught that. Her voice is becoming a little more crackly or shaky while answering the questions. We all know these questions show the jury doesn't believe anything she's saying. I think she's getting scared. They ask good amount of questions about her memory issues, and then we end for the day. So I wonder what more questions are going to be for tomorrow. I don't know how many more there are left. I can't imagine there's that many more questions left, but then again, I don't know exactly how many questions they went through today. But I think the jury asked some really good questions, and I think the questions really show kind of where they're at. There was like one question about if they thought one of the jurors asked her if she thought that when she was running into the closet that Travis could have moved the camera, which kind of scares me, which kind of shows that they might be actually believing her story about him running after her. So that's kind of scary, but you never know. You just never know what they're thinking. But just that question, everybody on Twitter was like, "What are you talking about? Why would you ask that question? Like, what are you thinking in your mind?" So yeah, that's really that's the only that's the only question that really stood out as like, uh-oh, like maybe this isn't gonna go the way we thought it was gonna go, just by maybe because one person is all it takes. So we will see what happens tomorrow, and I'll take my notes tomorrow. And if you have any comments about what was asked today by the jury, leave them below. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.